only that this thing, English learning or grammar or sentence structure is we get overwhelmed with, because these things get mingled with our other mental stuff. So
Yeah.
we fail to take up the right decision at work or at home front because we are juggling with all the things at the same time. So the
Yeah,
best thing
totally.
at the time is you take a pause and your mind to rejuvenate itself, to freshen it up, to let it be empty, declutter it, stop
Yeah.
thinking much, then restart speaking one thing at a time. But I speak too loud. I think, I don't know, it's fortunately or unfortunately, God has given me that high pitched voice.
You won't need a mic though, so that can work in your advantage at some point. And I think one of the reasons why a lot of people remain silent is because they tend to be a little too conscious about the mistakes that they make. So I think one of the best ways in which you can remedy something like that when this is the specific issue is welcome back. It's been a while. Last talk.
Good to see you once again.
Yeah, same here, same here. I was saying it's been quite a while, right, since we had our previous conversation. So yeah, how
Yeah.
has things been since then?
Today I didn't go to my work. I
Okay.
just wanted to chill out. The thing
Okay.
is, for the last so many days, almost near to a week, the
Mm-hmm.
things have become chaotic at my work end. There are
Mm-hmm.
some issues with the workforce. So
Mm-hmm.
days are going very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
So today I took a time out of this all this hectic kind of
Yeah.
environment and
Oh, the hassle.
problematic environment just to
Yeah.
chill out for at least half part of the day and to have a conversation. After that, I will think of whether I have to go or not to go today.
Absolutely. And don't you think it's very important for us to take a break and a pause? Just take a breather when things get overwhelming,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, when you realize that now the things are not coming under your control, you, in spite of making all the efforts, still you are unable to meet all the ends. So I think then you should take a pause, sit calm, and talk to yourself because things are not happening as per your calculations. So the whole day till now, I was just doing my mental math today, just planning out the things and like
Mm-hmm.
let go whatever is happening with this approach. So I'm sitting calmly at home and then
Yeah.
I planned my session. Otherwise it was no way on the cards earlier in the beginning of the day, but then I thought
Mm-hmm.
today I'm not going because nothing is happening as per my calculations. So let
Uh-huh.
the things go on the way they are going. Time should
Right.
be given to the situation also. So then
Absolutely.
I booked my session.
That's really nice. And see, it's a fun reunion as well. We got to talk after quite some time.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
certainly,
So
certainly.
yeah, so the topic that we talked about, right? We were talking about how people need to take a break when things start to get overwhelmed. Don't you think that this is something we can apply to English learners as well? Because the problem that I've seen is when we try to realize that okay, I have quite a lot of mistakes in speaking in the language, what we try to do is we rectify it, or we try to rectify it all at once. Okay, so for example, if I struggle with sentence structures, okay, then I'm going to focus on that. If I struggle with grammar, I'll focus on that as well. If I have a problem with pronunciation, I'll focus on that as well. So when we put our or when we stick our hands in all of these areas, the problem is we'll not completely get past one issue. Have you noted? I mean, do you
True,
agree?
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely right.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the best way to remedy something like that? That tendency to try and get preoccupied or obsessed with our mistakes or think too much when it comes to speaking the language. What has worked for you, basically, in overcoming something
You
like
have
that?
already given the answer to your own question. I go the
Uh-huh.
similar way. Like suppose, this is the only time when I have got the opportunity to talk in this language because before joining you, I was just in my mother tongue environment. After the completion of the session, I will be going back to my work. Again, I will be in that environment. But in spite of it, because I'm trying to converse in this language, I of course do self-talk, and when I drive, I talk to myself and I listen to the podcast also, and also the YouTubers who converse very well. But at the same time, I do realize that what is the fun of listening all these things if I'm not practicing? Then what
Exactly.
do I do? Suppose I have just listened some podcast just for 5 minutes. and 10 minutes at the maximum. And I have come across certain sentence structure, some word which I found very catchy. Then instead of completing that video, what I do, like when I am that kind of environment, then I would think of like stop watching that video further. Then I will start applying that phrase or that word in my mind. Because again, one after the other, like we keep on doing binge watching. But if we are not applying, and of course I get overwhelmed, like I'm failing to cope up with this structure. Trying to have regular sessions, but I'm not getting anything concrete, productive like out of it. I'm taking too long to be a fluent speaker. But the reason is very simple because we are trying to do so many things at the same time. Besides the things related to this conversation, we are busy with other engagements also. So it's not only that this thing, English learning or grammar or sentence structure is we get overwhelmed with, because these things get mingled with our other mental stuff. So
Yeah.
we fail to take up the right decision at work or at home front because we are juggling with all the things at the same time. So the
Yeah,
best thing
totally.
at the time is you take a pause and
Yeah.
just stop. I think stop focusing on anything. Give time to your mind to rejuvenate itself, to freshen it up, to let it be empty, declutter it, stop
Yeah.
thinking much, then restart, picking one thing at a time. Like
Yeah.
I didn't do anything much. I was to
Yeah.
do something for my YouTube channel. I was not coming, though I have the ideas, but somehow because of my work stress, I was unable to focus on that topic. When I thought, I am not going to do anything, I'm just going to book my session. And otherwise, I have some flaw in my, when I speak, I speak very loud and very fast. Now, like I have become conscious because, yes, I have to keep my pitch low and
Yeah, just
speak
calm down a little bit.
slowly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So consciously, you are to do the things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, true, true. And you know what I've also noticed? It's that, okay, you learn enough grammar, you learn enough vocabulary, and if people were to try and implement that into their daily speech, sometimes the person on the receiving end might not be quite as fluent in the language, correct?
True.
And what ends up happening is they might stay silent even while you are talking. Okay, and this is something that a lot of learners face as an issue because they struggle to sustain conversations. So, what do you think can be a remedy to that? So, imagine you the only one who's doing talking. Okay, so for example, if you and you are talking, and I'm a beginner, I do not know how to respond to you, so I'm staying quiet and I'm letting you figure it all out on your own. So, what would you suggest in such a situation? To try and motivate the other person to speak, but at the same time to try and keep the conversation flowing. What do you think is the best idea?
I think the mostly the things we used to forget, like because we are busy. I simply know at 2:40 I have to join the session. So I'm busy with other stuff. I have not done any mental work for that, that I have to, like what kind of person I'm going to interact with.
Okay.
And normally the thing is like when we are talking to the tutor or when we are talking to somebody at random, because we used to have the introduction in the beginning. I think, Selena, we must go through the session very consciously, like with conscious efforts. Like just now, you might have noticed I just brought my pitch a bit low and I'm now speaking, taking
Uh-huh.
pauses because I know
Yeah.
when I do it unconscious, I don't take any conscious, don't make any
Right.
conscious effort. I speak too loud. I think, I don't know, it's fortunately or unfortunately, God has given me that high pitched voice.
You won't
So
need a mic though, so that can work in your advantage at some point.
actually, when I was teaching in the college, I was a in the my teaching profession. At that time, it was a sort of incentive for me, a blessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because to address the audience, even you don't have the mic. I used to talk a lot on the stage, on the dais as well.
Yeah, totally,
And
totally.
this was considered as one of my qualities, like to address
Yeah.
the audience of almost 1,000 students. And sometimes, suppose there is a power cut, I used to convey
Yeah,
my message to the last bench,
totally,
last line
totally.
also. But
Yeah,
now it
totally.
has become my habit and it's not a good habit. I think, like I'm conversing with my family members, a number of times my husband would interrupt me. Madam, slow down.
Uh,
But
it's
yes,
it's
your answer to your question is, Yes, whenever we are talking, we are like we are having these kinds of sessions with the people at random. We
Uh-huh.
should make conscious efforts, and we should first of all we should try to know what is the level of the person on the other side. And I think once the person introduces himself or herself, you get the idea that what is the level of that person. So always try to bring yourself at that level. Only then there is a your purpose is solved. Otherwise there is no fun of wasting your time and energy and of other persons also, and even your conversation is going to be a futile exercise for both the parties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why a lot of people remain silent is because they tend to be a little too conscious about the mistakes that they make. So I think one of the best ways in which you can remedy something like that when this is the specific issue is try to acknowledge it. Even if I were to make a slip while speaking, I can just say,
Yeah,
"Sorry, that's not what I meant," and it
yeah.
just ends there, right? It's another way to keep the conversation flowing.
Yes, yes, yes.
Correct. Yeah. So I think just to push yourself out there, like you said, to try and put in that extra effort to keep the conversation flowing, to keep it building, and that helps. And I think, like you said, when it's a tutor and a student's session or a tutor and a learner session, it's easier because you have session notes and then you or have other or you at least come in prepared, right? Like we are right now. But when you are met with people at random, you need to put in extra focus to try and understand the person first before being the speaker in the conversation. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is something that anybody can relate to, even if they were a basic learner of the language or if they are an advanced learner as well. But at the same time, do you think that there are just some phrases that click in our native language more than it does in English? Has that ever happened to you where there was a particular incident that you felt could have been more relatable if it was narrated in your native language?
Whenever you talk, you want to exchange your emotions, something emotional you want to talk about. I think that at that time you feel that attachment and that like then you prefer your mother tongue or regional language, because some
Mm-hmm.
of our feelings or emotions we can express in a better way when we are more in the comfortable zone at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So if I suppose if I want to bring my heart outside, I want to convey something which is there in my mind, and I want to convey that to my kids or to my mom and dad, I would certainly prefer to speak in my own language,
Mm-hmm.
like my mother tongue. So yes,
Mm-hmm.
if, when you are to convey something related to your emotions, I feel at that time your mother tongue is the best via media to convey your
Mm-hmm.
feelings. So
Mm-hmm.
we can't convey the feelings in English language. I feel that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think perhaps one of the reasons why that happens is because there are certain aspects of our culture or a person's individualistic culture for that matter that just cannot be expressed in a secondary language. And I think this is something that native speakers of English can relate to as well. Imagine if I was a native speaker of English, there are certain words and slangs and certain phrases in English that only I can understand. A non-native speaker might not understand
Of
it to
course.
that extent.
Yeah. Yes, yes,
Right.
true.
So I think the first language that any person learns from their infancy, that is ultimately going to be the language that they communicate their emotions in. But what we can do is try to make sure that we get the message somewhere next to that as well as possible in the language that we're using. Because in a
In English language also.
yeah,
Yeah.
in a professional setting, we cannot speak in our native language, can we now? So
Yeah,
if we
that's
were
true.
to, yeah, if we were to say address our boss and we're trying to tell our boss, see, I was preoccupied with this emergency in my family, and I'm trying to explain the intensity of that emergency to somebody who's not speaking my native language, it just doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
So I
true.
think we ultimately we need to, like you said, we need to push ourselves out there and we need to try and find a way to capture that emotion as, and I think this is one of the reasons why most often when we try to say a sentence in English, right, it comes out in a different way than what we meant because we do not know how to find the appropriate word to describe
Appropriate word for that. Yeah. Then
exactly.
in that very case, we need to feel the sense of the word. Then we are
Yeah.
to frame the sentence accordingly.
Yeah, yeah. For example, if we were to use a phrase that can sound normal in our native language, the same phrase can sound completely different in English.
Yes,
Have you
yes.
noticed? Yeah.
Yes, yes,
For
yes.
example, if you know, you just look at random phrases. Has that happened to you where you were trying to capture an emotion that you associate within your native language in English and it just comes out in a different way?
Exactly. I can't bring some example before you, but of course,
Mm-hmm.
this is a natural kind of thing, Selena. But because
Mm-hmm.
now I have started speaking in English as well, and at the same time, I try to find the suitable word. And I know when we are to convey the emotions, though I
Mm-hmm.
don't talk to the person at random while I'm because emotions you can't share with everyone. Emotions are to be shared with your closer ones, and when we talk to our closer ones, then of course we
Mm-hmm.
prefer to talk in our regional language only. But
Mm-hmm.
suppose if I have to teach to someone, like I'm talking to someone having these kinds of sessions, then of course I will try to advise that person or to give the ideas to that person that whatever you want to convey in like some sentences there, some questions there in your mind in your native language. So first
Yeah,
of all, when you want to convert that sentence into English, try to feel the essence of the sentence. Then,
exactly.
according to the essence, then try to find out a suitable word in English language. Because
Exactly.
in exact manner we can't translate it. Then it is altogether
Exactly.
going to be a different
Exactly.
meaning.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I totally agree because this is something that learners try to do, or I've done as well in my past, because we translated as it is.
Hmm.
That doesn't work. We need to find the equivalent emotion that you can convey in
Yes.
English. For example,
Yes.
if we're saying, okay, I'm coming in 5 minutes, okay, in a native language, that sounds normal. Okay, it sounds grammatically accurate. But in English, you can't say I'm coming in 5 minutes. You say, I'll reach in five
Hmm.
minutes, or I'll arrive by 5 minutes, or I'll arrive
I'll
in a
be
5 minutes.
there in 5 minutes. Be there in five
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, even then too, there's the proper way to say is I'll arrive or I'll reach. Correct. So
Hmm.
that changes there. The same thing can be said for perhaps, okay, what's a phrase that I can pick up? Okay, if I were to say do one thing, okay, in Hindi it sounds normal, right? If we were to literally translate it, but in English, do one thing doesn't make sense,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Yes.
Instead, maybe
Yes.
you can say, here's what you can do, or try this out. That's what we would say, and that's
Yes. Yes.
completely different.
Yeah. True.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
this is what I was saying. So I think it helps, like you said, to find the context
Yeah.
in which you can use that situation
Yes.
and try to find words that match the vibe rather than the words that can mean the same quite literally.
Yeah. Yes. Not as per
Yes.
the literal meaning. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I think we managed to share some deep insights, right, on how a person can perfect their language to some extent, at least. So, as always, Kawaljit, you come up with such educated points. So it's always a fun talking to you. So,
Selena, can I ask you something? I was in a
yeah.
bind because the moment I got to know I'm going to connect with Selena, so I thought because when we met the last time, I was facing some problem with my laptop. There was some voice problem also in my setting. That problem somewhere at my end only. So today I was totally
Mm-hmm.
focused that nothing of that sort happened today.
Mm-hmm.
I have one question for you. It's not a question.
Okay.
I want to just you to share it with me. How
Mm-hmm.
did you, first thing, where are you from?
Okay, so I'm from Kerala. I'm a Malayali.
Kerala. I just had the idea. Sorry, I'm not that YouTube person, so I did come across, like, I might not have come across as
Okay.
YouTube. Okay, you. I was just having the idea. Might be she is from Kerala. You speak so well, so you speak so fluent, flawlessly. Just let me know. Uh, ho- what did you do? Like, had you been from your childhood from since beginning? You studied in the English medium school. Is it this the reason? You studied from a convent background. Is this the reason? Or you made some extra efforts to come up to this level? What is the secret of your fluency?
Oh, I don't. I think I was fortunate enough to be provided with the opportunity to speak the language quite early from a young age. I think that's one of the reasons why I can't be. Just because we learn in an English medium school doesn't mean we get to polish the language as well, because we need to put in the effort ultimately. And from a young age, when you are, so I come from a place where we have to interact with people across different cultures, right? I come from Kochi, and over here we have a diverse amount of communities, we have diverse cultures. So just sticking to the native language is not going to cut it.
Mm.
So yeah, the practice definitely helped consistently speaking in the language. And I would watch Western content or native English content from a very young age. I would watch content in English. I would try to pick up on things. So because of that, the retention was there from a young age. And of course, I learned English quite professionally in my college. So all of the, I would say it's an amalgamation of all of that. So the thing is, with English, I've never taken a break ever since I could pick up on it. All right,
Mm.
it's been as consistent as it was when I was perhaps 3 or 4 years old. So that consistency is what paid off ultimately. If I were to just
Mm.
learn it and keep it aside to only use it when the situation presents itself, it was not gonna be as helpful as it is right now, because I had to consistently speak in the language. I had to polish my skills consistently and have to communicate in that language all the time in order to make sure that we don't lose that touch. And what's ironic is now there are certain things that when I'm speaking in my native language, I get confused. I have to bring in
Mm.
English words. This happens sometimes. Yeah, so it's
I
this.
think when you start something from your childhood,
Mhm.
because when a child starts doing or learning something, the child is doing everything with free mind. Because child
Yeah,
is not conscious, child is never afraid of making mistakes.
yeah,
And when
yeah,
you grow up in that kind of environment, so
yeah,
that ultimately becomes your instinct, like to
yeah.
converse or to behave in that
True, true,
framework.
true.
And
But
when
as
you
yeah, you were
sorry.
saying? No, no, no.
And
Go
when
ahead,
you
go
start doing something when you are already mature enough,
ahead.
you before you speak out something, or not only about this language, you take any other XYZ thing. Before stepping into that thing, you are already conscious. Again,
Yeah.
for the your environment or people would be judgmental kind of thing, or you are already scared because you don't have that you are not that confident from your inner side, because you haven't done that thing for your 30 years or 40 years, and all of a sudden you have made up your mind, now I want to do this thing. So these
Yeah.
things may not be consciously, unconsciously or subconsciously, that
Mm-hmm.
affects your learning capacity also.
Yeah,
So
totally. I agree.
yes,
Yeah. The amount of information that you retain as an infant is quite different from what you might retain as
yes,
an adult. But at
yes.
the same time, too, I would never say that learning any skill for that matter has an age barrier, but the
No.
consistency needs to be there. Like you said, we
Yeah.
need to consistently put efforts. If consistency is not there, then we are pretty much letting our efforts go to waste.
No, I simply meant that when we do something consciously, only then we make mistakes.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And a child is not fearful, right, when doing anything or conversing in that language. This is a
Exactly.
basic difference. And of course, a number of years the child has spent, like you have spent coming up over here. Like, and if I take my example, these two instances situations can't be compared. Though I do
Yeah,
feel age, for me, age is just a number. And
yeah,
you should have that learner's mindset and keep on learning till your
absolutely.
last breath, because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
never bring the age factor when it comes to learning anything. And I advocate the same thing. I have been
yeah,
doing the same by advocating to my students as well, and still I have the same
absolutely.
approach. Right.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah.
yeah. But
So I
somehow that built-in kind of framework that, okay, now I'm doing at this stage, and like I'm talking to some younger, because we have seen now the children, because they go to the English medium schools, and the framework of the schools has improved a lot. Like I think in every second school, the children, they are taught in the English medium, not taught in the English medium. They make it compulsory that the children should speak and talk all the time with the friends and with the teachers in this language only. So definitely, if somebody remains immersed in that language from the very childhood, and then when the child would be growing up, it would definitely come up with amazing results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true, true. I agree. I agree. You need to fuel that drive from a very young age. But
Yeah,
like you said, age is just a number. We can try it at any point, but that consistency needs to be
yeah,
there. And it
yes.
helps when you don't think too much about the mistakes that you make.
This is the point where we should stop thinking too much. Like if we have to speak, just speak out. Start speaking only, not
Exactly,
think much
exactly.
about it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So again, once again, thank you for this beautiful session. As always, it's fun talking to you, Kawaljit. So I'll let you be now. I think I bombarded you with a lot of questions. So
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. It was really amazing session.
yeah,
Yeah.
we shared a lot of deep insights. So thank you so much
Yes.
for that. And yeah, take care. Bye bye. Hopefully, we'll meet
You
again.
too. Thank
Yeah, you,
you. Bye bye. Have a nice day ahead.
you too.